back to the Chatting Average, a 4th of July special, a great weekend of baseball, I guess.
Yes.
A lot of interleague play. The Rockies lost 2 games to the White Sox. Atlanta got swept by Baltimore. We've got a good show to talk about today. I think we start first, and Adam, you were not here while we talked about this pre-show, but Miguel Cairo named interim manager of the Washington Nationals after they fire their general manager and their manager. This is like the 6th time Miguel Cairo has served as a interim manager. Was the White Sox interim manager with Tony La Russa, was the Yankees interim manager at certain points. Throughout the couple seasons he was in Chicago, he was the interim manager for a game 1 or 2. And I don't know. I'm starting to think maybe somebody should just hire him as the manager, because he seems to just end up on the team that needs a manager.
This feels a lot like when you, in the NFL, when they bring on the special teams coach to be the interim manager. Bench coaches are the special teams coaches of the MLB, in the sense that no player is going to be upset that you named the bench coach the manager, because they already interact with.
Supposed to be the vibes guy in the first place,
right? They interact with literally everyone.
Correct.
And I think Miguel Cairo understands this, because he keeps taking field coordinator or bench coach jobs. I think he understands probably a little bit where his role is.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know enough about his managerial style to vouch for him as a full-time manager, but considering how many special teams coaches are still special teams coaches, the parallel might continue to run.
Let me tell you this, man. That bump in money you get when you get named an interim manager, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. There's an old adage in sports, right? It's better to be lucky than good. Sometimes it's about picking your situations, you know? If you go to a team where you know things could go wrong and your manager could get fired, you're just padding your bank account a little bit. Like, there's a skill involved here that people don't want to talk about, but there's a skill involved.
Hey, all I'm saying is that he was the interim manager for the White Sox on a one-off for the Field of Dreams game against the Yankees, right?
I forgot about that.
Where he left the worst catcher I've ever seen try to hit a baseball, Sebi Zavala, in the game, who drew a walk that brought up Tim Anderson for the home run. So all I'm saying is maybe he knows something.
Or he got so lucky that it was good.
Yasmani Grandal was on the bench, okay? Like...
Sebi Zavala is no Chucky Robinson.
That is true. He is no Chucky Robinson. No Martin Maldonado.
No Matt Tice.
Wow. Dude, gosh. He's definitely no Kyle Teal and Edgar Quero, though. I could tell you that for sure. All right, you guys want to get into the games, the weekend series?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, I'm thinking, little inside baseball here. 3 AL series, 3 NL series, 9 interleague series. We're going to do the AL and the NL together today because that's ridiculous. And we'll just do AL, NL. We'll go to the IL after. That way we actually have something to talk about. So in the American League, Tampa Bay and Minnesota up in the land of 10,000 lakes. A 4-3 win for the Twins in Game 1. Bader has a home run and then a walk-off home run to end the game. 6-5 for Minnesota in Game 2. Cody Clemens has three-run home run. Brooks Lee has the walk-off bunt single. And then 7-5 for the Rays in Game 3 as Taylor Walls hits the home run and Tampa Bay scores 3 in the top of the 10th. The Angels up in Toronto, not able to celebrate 4th of July as they're in a different country, and Toronto gets the sweep. Just one more. We've still got you from the British colonies, or whatever you call those, the territories that the King says he owns still. 4-3 win for the Blue Jays in Game 1 in 10 innings. Clement with a walk-off sac bunt. A 4-3 win in Game 2 as well, but in 11 innings Springer has a 2-run home run, and then Barger has the walk-off single in that one. And Blue Jays take the sweep on Game 3 with a 3-2 win. Bichette with a homer, and Gossman with the 5.2 innings pitched, 9 strikeouts. Detroit sweeps Cleveland as Cleveland goes L10 over the last 10 games. 2-1 in Game 1. Wensiel Perez at a home run, and so does Zach McKinstry. A 1-0 win in Game 2 from Torkelson on a home run, and Casey Mize goes 7 innings pitched, 4 hits. And a 7-2 win for the Tigers in 10 innings. 0-0 until the bottom of the 8th there, and then Sweeney has a 3-run home run. Riley Green has a 2-run home run, and they pile on. In the National League, Cincinnati and Philadelphia, a 9-6 win for the Reds as they score 5 in the top of the 3rd. 5-1 for Philly in Game 2. Amundo Sosa has a home run. Bohm has a 2-run shot. So does Schwarber. And a Game 3, 3-1 win for the Phillies as Stott has a 2-run home run. Zach Wheeler goes 9 innings pitched, 1 hit, 12 Ks, 28 batters faced. St. Louis and the Cubs. Game 1, 11-3 as the Cubs take it with 8 home runs, a franchise record. Suzuki has 1, PCA has 2, Michael Busch has 3, Kelly has 1, Swanson has 1. Game 2, a 8-6 win for the Cardinals as they bounce back. Gorman, Burleson each have a home run, and then Yoel Pozo has a 3-run home run to take the lead there. And Game 3, 11-0 win last night on Sunday. One of the Sunday night baseball games for the Cubs. They score 5 in the bottom of the 3rd, and Suzuki caps the game off with the home run in the later innings. The Brewers and the Marlins and the Miami wins the middle game. Milwaukee wins the bread games here.
Bread games.
6-5 win for the Brewers in Game 1. Joey Ortiz with the 2 RBIs. Durbin was 2 for 3 with 2 runs scored. Miami takes Game 2, 4-2 off of a Stowers home run. And Game 3, a 3-1 win for Milwaukee. Churio, a 2-run shot. And Woodruff goes 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, 8 Ks.
As you might have been able to figure out, we're not going through standings on this episode. That's just because we're going to have a lot of time to do that next week. In fact, that's going to be kind of our main focus of next week's episode. It's just where these teams stack up after half of the baseball season. So we won't get too deep into the weeds in that. But I do want to say something to you guys. This is a completely factual statement. The Detroit Tigers currently lead the AL Central by 13.5 games.
Yeah.
13.5.
Yeah, who's 13.5 back?
The Minnesota Twins.
Yep, yeah. And they're under 500, right?
Yeah.
Yes, they are 4 games under 500.
Wow. Well, okay,
Wow.
so like expanding on that, like the Guardians were in 2nd place. They're on a 10-game losing streak.
Correct, and now they're in 4th. So
yeah,
that's
so
pretty
they
bad.
fall back.
Hey, they're only 8 games up on the White Sox, dude.
Really?
This is not good.
No, they're 10 games up. They're 10 games up, but the White Sox have 2 games in hand.
Oh, okay. Well, the White Sox run into the Red Hot Blue Jays for the next 3 days, but then they get to go play the Guardians before the break. So,
like the AL Central
listen,
back to being terrible.
The Tigers are still the best team.
Oh yeah, and the Tigers were
like-
going to be the best team going into the year, but like the way that the rest of this division has just piled off of a cliff is very, very funny to me. Like
Especially-
the Royals, going into the year, we were talking about the Royals as a team that, if things broke right for them, could be competing for a World Series, and now they are 5
Everything is
games
broke
below
wrong.
500 as we rapidly approach the All-Star break.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. You know what?
Blue Jays,
The AL,
really good.
The AL Central's funny. Yeah, Blue Jays 8-game win streak, 9-1 in the last 10 games, and they're 3 games up in the AL East. They hold sole ownership of the lead there in that division. Because the
Can you
Yankees
guys tell me,
have
and
sucked.
this is a fun trivia fact. Can you guys tell me the last time the Blue Jays held first place in the NL East, or excuse me, in the AL East in July?
2019.
2019 is correct. Good work, John.
I won't guess. That's cool.
You know why I know? You know why I know that? Because 2019 was the year all the young guys were up on the Sox, and we were also battling for place, and it was like, wow, these two young teams are in first place. One of them is 52 and 38 right now. The other one is 30 and 60.
It's crazy how
Oh,
things
and
happen.
by the way, on that
team
count,
that won
only
the World Series that year was the Washington Nationals, and they just fired their GM and manager. So things have changed a lot since then.
Oh, gosh, good point. What else? Zach
Miami.
Wheeler, 28 batters faced. Miami?
True.
Miami Chimkin.
The Marlins are fun. And I think
Unfortunately, they're fun.
It's like kind of annoying that they're fun because they're 40 and 48. Like they're not necessarily like competing for anything. They are out racing. They're not good fun, but they're young fun, which is different. Agustin, is it Augustin or Agustin?
Augustine.
I think it's
Agustin Ramirez is who we thought he was. He is a good catcher bat. Need I remind you that Liam Hicks, Rule 5 pick, is still, a 792 OPS between catcher, first base, and DH. Connor Norby is remembering that he's Connor Norby again. After switching Xavier Edwards and Otto Lopez, they're both performing a little bit better. Edward Cabrera, Yuri Perez are starting to figure things out again. It's a fun team, not a good team. Don't get that confused.
There's a lot of those, I think.
Yeah, well, I have not watched one yet.
Hey, John, did you know that your the Atlanta Braves run differential is +4? You're
Really?
11 games under 500.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when we get to the IL, I'll have I will have my day. I will have my meltdown moment.
Oh,
Only 13 and a half back of the Phillies, which is only 1.5 less than the amount of strikeouts that Zach Wheeler got this weekend. So,
which is a good point. That was a great game by Zach Wheeler.
that was a great game by Zach Wheeler. Faces 28,
He's a dog.
one above the minimum. The only ball put in play, or not put in play, the only hit that he gave up in the entire game was a solo shot to Austin Hayes, who, and I will stand by this, if he had not missed so much time this season with injuries, would have been the Reds' only All-Star selection. Instead, it goes to Ellie De La Cruz, and that's fine. Austin Hayes, on a rate basis, deserves it way more.
Yeah, I agree. I very much enjoyed Zach Wheeler's performance, as it got me 47 fantasy points and gave me a deep breath throughout the weekend. And I was able to topple David Campbell, who I've had trouble beating in the past, as he won last year. Friend of the program, I guess. St. Louis and the Cubs was a fun series, revisiting what happened at the end of the last one. Other than the fact that at the end of the last one, it was so heated, and then the Cardinals walked out and just laid the biggest dump on Wrigley Field in Game 1 and gave up 8 home runs. Other than that, there's really not much other to say from that. They beat the crap out of them in Game 3. If the series
Michaelis gave up 6 home runs himself, which is the most in Cardinals history. Do you know how long that team's been around? Do you know how many pitchers they've had? This was the worst start.
My favorite thing I saw.
They were throwing Doc burgers, man.
It was so bad.
After that game, I saw a tweet of a graphic that was Mike Michaelis gave up 60 home runs today.
Miles.
And I was like, no way, right?
All I'm saying is
I believed it for a second.
Remember when it was he's innings eater? Sure, he was I'll save the bullpen. It was my fault. I got them into this mess. I'll get them out. And then he didn't.
Don't worry, guys. I will go 7 no matter what.
It's like that one where Pa Kent in that Superman movie is holding his hand up to stop him from saving from the tornado. It's you could have been saved from the tornado, but he's no, son with super speed. Let me get swallowed up by a tornado. Unnecessary.
Oh, all right. Interleague 9 series. How long do you think
One
Here's
final
the real
thought
question.
before we go to interleague.
Sure,
I have
please.
one
Yeah, I
very
need deep
quick
breaths.
thought. Very, very quickly. Good to see Brandon Woodruff back on the mound. First start in nearly 2 years. Good to see him back. Go ahead in the interleague, John.
Before I start the interleague, I literally wrote Brandon Woodruff's name and went, feel like I haven't wrote that name in so long.
It's been over 600 days.
We haven't. All right,
That
ready?
actually legitimately might have been before we started the show.
It was.
It might have been so
600 days.
long
We haven't
that
been
he
doing this for
hasn't
2 years.
pitched in the duration of this show.
Because we only did... Yeah, no, because the 2-year anniversary would be this fall.
Half of the okay. So this is the first Brandon Woodruff mention that we've had on the show ever, possibly.
Unless he was used as a immaculate grid guy, but
that is possible. Anyway,
to the interleague, 9 series in the interleague because what do you do on 4th of July weekend? You beat up on your enemies. Also, it's right before the All-Star break, which was kind of fun. Like, hey, we're all going to play each other again on separate teams in like 2 weeks. Is that fine if we all play each other right now? So it's happening. Boston and the Nationals. Boston gets the sweep in D.C. on 4th of July weekend. Oh my gosh, this country is in the toilet. Game 1, 11-2 win for Boston. Story with a 2-run home run and 4 RBIs, and Duran has 3 RBIs as well. Another 10-3 win, or another big win in Game 2, 10-3. Rafaela with a 2-run shot. Gonzalez and Duran each have 2 RBIs, and a 6-4 win on Sunday to complete the sweep as Story goes yard again, and so does Rafaela. New York and New York. Wow, how fun. This one up over there where the Mets play. Actually, wherever they play, I don't know. Game 1, 6-5, the Mets win. The Mets don't get the sweep. They win the first 2 here. Soto has a 2-run shot. Beatty has a home run, and so does McNeil. A 12-6 win for the Metropolitans in Game 2 as Nimmo has a grand slam, and Alonso has a 2-run shot and a 3-run shot. The Yankees take Game 3, 6-4 as Wells goes yard, and Judge has a 2-run home run, his 33rd of the season. Pittsburgh and Seattle in Seattle as they get the sweep here, a 6-0 win as Raleigh goes yard. Rosarena, Raleigh again for his 35th as he ties Ken Griffey Jr. For the franchise's most home runs before the All-Star break. Moore with a 2-run shot as well. A 1-2 is Williamson with an RBI double, and Luis Castillo goes 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 8 Ks, and another 1-0 win in Game 3 with the Rosarena with a home run, and George Kirby 6.1, 4 hits, 9 Ks. No runs scored for the Pirates in 3 games over the weekend. Texas and San Diego. Texas takes Game 2. Game 1 is 3-2 for the Padres. Machado with a home run and Cronenworth with the RBI walk-off single. A 7-4 win for the Rangers in Game 2 as Smith goes yard and Higashioka has a run shot. 4-1 for the Padres in Game 3. Tatis 2 for 3, 1 RBI. Arise with going 2 for 4 with an RBI out on Sunday Night Baseball for the second game. Don't really know how that works. I didn't know they did that. Baltimore and Atlanta. Atlanta gets swept by the O's 3-2 in Game 1. Oh, hey, John, happy birthday. Westberg, home run. And Mullins, a 2-run shot. 9-6 in Game 2 as the O's win it in 10 innings. O'Neill with a home run. Westberg with a 2-run shot. And Colton Cowser with a 2-run shot. And 2-1 for the O's in Game 3 as Holiday has a 2-run home run. And Rogers goes 6.2 innings pitched, 6 Ks. The White Sox and the Colorado Rockies in Colorado. Sox take Game 1, 3-2 as Ed Cuero hits a home run. And Adrian Hauser goes 8 innings pitched, 4 hits, 6 Ks. A Game 2, 10-3 win for the Sox as well. Montgomery with an RBI triple. Sosa with a 2-run home run, and Michael A. Taylor with a 2-run home run. 6-4 as the Rockies salvage the series here. Game 3, Moniak with the leadoff home run in the bottom of the first inning and a 2 RBI triple. And then Toglia with a 2-run home run. Houston sweeps the Dodgers 18-1 in Game 1, the biggest loss at Dodger Stadium ever. Paredes, Altuve, Walker, Carantini, Altuve again all have home runs. Carantini slam. 6-4 in Game 2 as Diaz hits a home run and Short has 2 RBIs. 5-1 in Game 3, Walker, Diaz, and Altuve. The Royals and the Diamondbacks, a 9-3 win for the Royals. Pasquantino with a 3-run and a 2, and Canna with a home run. 7-1 for the Diamondbacks Game 2, Grichuk has an inside the park 2-run home run, and Nelson goes 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, 5 Ks. A 4-1 win for the Royals as they take the Bread Games.
Bread games.
With the home run, Perez with the home run, Lorenzen with a 7 innings pitch, 2 hits, 7K outing. And the Giants and the Athletics, 11-2 win for the A's in the first game. Kurtz, Nick with a 2-run home run. Denzel Clarke was just a shot to the out there. Who knows? It was 470 feet, Jenny Canvar. Rooker with 2 RBIs, 7-2 win in game. Giants as Ramos goes yard and Adames has 4 RBIs, and a 6-2 win for the Giants in game 3 as Adames has a home run, 3 RBIs, and Fitzgerald has a home run.
Denzel Clarke is not there, and he maybe never will be there, but he's got the tools to be the best player in baseball.
Oh, yeah, he's fun.
That home run was 479 feet. I was watching it with my friends. We're sitting there. I'm like, sitting at this like countertop in my basement. I look up to this tiny TV. Denzel Clarke has sent one to like West Sacramento, and I'm like, what?
He almost sent it back to Oakland.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well. And you're right. Like he hit in AAA. He hit in AA. Admittedly, elevation helping a little bit there. The Pacific Coast League is notorious for being a hitter-friendly environment. Still, that's a good sign to know that look, he still has the ability to absolutely rocket something out of the outfield, and it hit something that far to where realistically only he could catch it.
You've got a point. You got a point.
So
he reminds me a lot of a younger O'Neal Cruz. You see the speed, you see the glove skills, you see the raw power. Obviously, Cruz has never put it together. I think if he does, he's very much an Ellie De La Cruz type, and I think he's a perennial all-star. But he hasn't put it together, and I'm not sure he ever will. I think Denzel Clarke might fall into that same category, unfortunately. I'm really rooting for him. But he's just so raw. There's only so much polishing you can do.
I agree that you everybody should be rooting for him, because this is a team that is you should be rooting for the players of this team. You should not be rooting for the organization. Is kind of how I think about it, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
I would rather see them. They're not going to be in Sacramento forever. They're not going back to Oakland. As a non-fan of the team, we have to accept that, obviously. It's wherever they go, it would be so much cooler if Denzel Clarke is a star of the league when they get there. Or somebody is.
I agree. I agree. And there's certainly some candidates. They've got some real legitimate talent on that roster. I think Jacob Wilson maybe is the most obvious example, but you could make an argument that somebody along the lines of a Brent Rooker is still kind of a household name, right? Lawrence Butler, I think at one point, especially last year, was kind of a household name. There are dudes on this roster. It's just a matter of whether they can build a complete roster and whether those dudes are able to figure it out in a meaningful way at the major league level.
Right. Houston sweeps the Dodgers, which I feel wouldn't be weird if it was in Houston, but it wasn't.
Yeah, the Astros might be here to stay.
Yeah, that's so fun. Yippee!
I mean, that's a real bad beat, and the Dodgers are obviously going to, nurse the wound for a little bit, but Houston's got to be really happy to know that. I mean, Lance McCullers went with 1-run ball in the first game of an 18-1 win against the Dodgers. And that's arguably one of your worst rotation pieces against the Dodgers.
That's true.
You are not upset about this at all if you're out there in Houston.
The Dodgers are 2 wins. Let me make sure I'm doing my math right. Yes, they're 2 wins away from being the best team in baseball. They have the third most wins in Major League Baseball right now. They are hot on the Detroit Tigers' tail, especially after taking so many from the Dodgers, the other team that they're trailing. They're only one game back of the Dodgers right now. That's kind of crazy to think about.
And I think they'll do it. Honestly, I think the Tigers have more forward momentum right now than the Dodgers do. And that's not just looking back at this weekend. I really do think the Dodgers are, as they tend to do, getting hurt at the absolute wrong time. You're having Tommy Edman shift over to third base because Max Muncy's leg blew up.
No!
That's like your one guy that started to have a really good spring, put on glasses and then realized when you wear glasses you can see things better than when you don't wear glasses. And had a pretty good offensive start, and now Edman is objectively a incredibly good fielder at second base and at center field. Probably could handle it at third base. Probably better than Muncy, but still, and every fifth game you're punting because Shohei Ohtani goes 2 innings and then you have to hand it over to a bullpen that's already kind of burnt.
Yeah.
So
what else in the interleague? Anybody got anything they want to talk about? I'd like to talk about Colson Montgomery at some point, but that can wait.
You go about Montgomery. I'm gonna need to talk about the Braves in a second, but you go about Montgomery first.
Okay. I understand that it was just about the worst series you could watch all weekend. The White Sox and the Colorado Rockies. Buzz, did you watch any of the games?
No, I did not, but one of my best friends texted me that for the 4th of July, him and his brother were viewing Rockies-White Sox on the big screen, and they were attempting to do the 999 challenge during this game.
Without being there.
About 3 hours later, I texted for an update, and as you can imagine, it very quickly turned into the 25, 3, and 9 challenge.
25 hot dogs?
No.
Okay.
The other part of the 9.
Like the White Sox should go out and win 2 of 3 against the Rockies. Like that. Like 2 or 3 or sweep them. Like, correct. I don't care that they won the series, like that they should have. But like the whole point of the series was they waited until after a couple hard series to finally call up Colson Montgomery, and you kind of give him the spot to do 3 straight games in a stadium that is easy to play in as a hitter. Like, he doesn't hit a home run, which I think is important. You got to kind of see like all of his tools work together. He had some good contact. He pushed a lot of stuff to the other side, pulled when they were inside. Like it worked out real well. He had a triple. My thing is that he legitimately looked one of one of the best defensive shortstops in the league. He looked so natural at the shortstop position, which is his position, but like they were talking about it on the broadcast, and it's just like he looks like he's never experienced a bad hop. Like, a bad hop doesn't come for him. He knows exactly how it's going to off the ground. And it was really nice to see that. Like, he's been in the organization for 4 or 5 years, and earlier in the year he got sent to the Arizona complex, like, to go figure out how to hit the baseball. And he's up here, and he hit the ball really well in this. I don't know. That's all I have. I'm excited to see where that goes.
I had a different friend. I'll wrap our White Sox Rockies talk with this. I had a different friend yesterday shoot me a text who was actually at the game. This person paid real American currency to go and watch these 2 teams play baseball, and I think he should be shamed for that. But he sent a text, and I want to read it in full as follows. Quote, baseball is definitely not my forte, but I'm confident in saying last year's White Sox were measurably better than this team, which is correct. He follows that up by saying, and this is the most accurate quote maybe I've ever seen, I'm sure Michael Toglia is a good guy. He is. But it's bad that he's now one of the worst players on this roster. It's really bad.
It's really bad out there, guys. It's really bad. A mile high and they're somehow rock bottom. It is really impressive.
It's not great. It's not great.
Oh, okay.
John, I guess you've got your Braves talk. Other than that, I mean, I don't really see much we need to speak on.
Since we spoke
Have your
last,
Braves minute.
guys, Spencer Schwellenbach broke his elbow. He doesn't know how it's a freak accident. He leaves the Phillies game sorer than usual. A tiny bone in the elbow. In his throwing elbow, of course, because where else would it be? In his throwing elbow, tiny little bone breaks. It's a micro fracture practically. But it causes enough pain to where he is now on the 60-day IL. To tell you the state of the current Braves, he was moved to the 60-day IL as the corresponding 40-man roster move to call Jesse Chavez up for the third time. The Braves are 39-50. They are 11 games under 500. They have lost 9 of their last 11. First Cespedes Family Barbecue, August 11th, 2017 was the last time the Braves fell to 11 games under 500. They finished that year 72-90 and have made the playoffs every year since. They will have made the playoffs every year up until now. They will not make the playoffs. That team had Brandon Phillips at third base, Ender Inciarte leading off at center field, Kurt Suzuki at catcher, and Mike Foltynewicz pitching. They were facing a Cardinals team that had Dexter Fowler in center field and Jed Gyorko at third base.
Oh my God.
And here's the thing. They are, for this coming day, they are going to be in West Sacramento, California, playing the Athletics of Athletic Land. I am not confident they win more than one game in this. I am sorry. They are throwing Didier Fuentes, who is younger than me, with a 9 ERA. By the way, Spencer Schwellenbach's spot in the rotation was filled by the bullpen, including multiple innings out of Aaron Bummer.
Ooh, I love that guy. You know what's so funny about it? Every time he comes to the game, you go, "Oh, it's his last name."
Yeah. If the Braves do not sell at least one piece, that includes either Ozzy Albies or Marcelo Ozuna, players that are likely not going to be returning to this team the next year. There are going to be like Frankenstein-style peasant riots in the Battery, which will be impressive because no one below the poverty line lives in the Battery, and peasant riots will not happen there because the Battery is a falsely constructed city. It is a city on a hill made of nothing but lies. But enjoy your All-Star weekend, Atlanta, Cobb County. Enjoy it because you have crafted this wonderful facade of a city in this shell of a stadium where Marcelo Ozuna has a hip tear and is still playing. You have not had your two best players, both of whom are catchers, playing in the same lineup more than once this year. Ronald Acuna starting in the All-Star game, guys. Congrats. Here's your bread and circuses. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain and enjoy your loss.
Do you remember when Major League Baseball 3 years ago, this was just 3 years ago, decided that the state of Georgia was enacting some really seriously messed up voting laws, and as a result of that, they could not allow themselves to host the All-Star game in Atlanta. And then those seriously messed up voting laws went into effect. And then those seriously messed up voting laws resulted in we'll call it unexpected outcome. No. Let me finish.
No, wait. It's what I said earlier about DC getting swept, or about Washington getting swept in DC on 4th of July weekend. The country is in the toilet.
And then after that happened, MLB was like, yeah, we actually were joking that we cared about that. We'll just go back to Atlanta this year. It'll be fine. That'll be good for the All-Star game to just go back. Nothing changes. Nothing ever gets fixed.
I want you all to know that the All-Star Village, I was sitting in the 400 level, right? Myself and my friends I'm sitting here, newly cracked can of Miller High Life, looking out across the sea of trees. All Star Village is in a mall, a half abandoned mall, right across I-85 or I-75. I only say half abandoned because it's a mall in 2025, and most of them are.
Most of them are half abandoned.
It is about 45 minutes from downtown Atlanta. It is right on the 285 perimeter around Atlanta, where 75 hits. So imagine like a bicycle. It's right in the like 11 o'clock on the clock. It's a nice stadium, and the battery is nice until you look at your bank account. But I would not pay serious money again this season to go watch this team without a really good reason. It's kind of a similar, yeah.
Can you, like, this is how we're talking about the Atlanta Braves hosting All-Star Weekend. Can you imagine if the White Sox had in their current facility?
Oh, boy.
No.
Hey, so actually, right there is where All-Star Village is, and if you walk half a block that direction, you could probably buy either drugs or a gun. Like,
well, I'm imagining
you could do the same thing in Georgia.
No, well, no. You pretty much just
You
walk
could. Yeah, you
five.
could.
You walk 5 minutes. I parked at a laser hair removal place yesterday, on Friday,
Heck yeah.
and walked 10
Get your hair
minutes
removed?
to get to the state. No, they were closed. It was
Oh.
the holiday. It was July 4th. They weren't open.
Right.
Yeah,
They were closed for your birthday.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Which, as most places do. You can walk about 5 minutes and get to a closed KFC. Like, they pretty much just dropped the stadium onto unincorporated Cobb County, and we're like, go on, take it,
Go.
go. It's like, the good people of unincorporated Cobb County had no idea what to do with it. There is a building there that just says parking, the Battery, Coca-Cola Roxy, Truist Park. I don't think the building is used for anything else. It's like this older, like, office building. And I walk past it every time, and I look at it. There's no signage. No exterior doors have any labels on them. It's just this pasted on banner that explains parking. I feel like I'm in, like, Better Call Saul or something, or like Breaking Bad, where it's like I feel like something is happening in there that I should not know about. But it's just parking.
One final thought on the Braves before we move forward, because we do have to move forward and talk a little bit about the actual All-Stars. But before we get to the actual All-Stars, I just want to take a quick look at the Braves starting pitcher depth chart. John, you probably already know this answer, so I'm going to ask John, how many pitchers have the Atlanta Braves... How many starting pitchers, let me rephrase, how many starting pitchers on the Atlanta Braves have missed at least 2 months with injury this year?
Foul.
4 is correct. Ronaldo Lopez, Chris Sale, AJ Smith-Shawver, Spencer Schwellenbach almost certainly headed that direction as well. If you slim that down to just 1 month missed on the injured list, who else do you add to that rotation?
Read the names again. I'm sorry.
Schwellenbach, Lopez, Sale, Smith-Shawver have all missed at least 2 months.
A month? Strider. Didn't Strider miss a month?
Spencer Strider, that's correct.
Yeah.
That's your entire starting rotation that's missed at least a month.
Chris Sale broke his ribs diving for a Juan Soto ground ball.
Hey, but he's an all-star.
No.
He can't breathe.
But he's an all-star.
You know who's not an all-star?
Yes, please. Let's go to snubs.
Mr. Juan Soto.
I mean,
Oh my god, I didn't even notice that yesterday.
Yeah.
It's
Juan Soto and Mookie Betts, and I'm confident in saying both of them will end up at the All-Star game because of injuries and shenanigans and all that kind of stuff. But as of this exact moment, Juan Soto and Mookie Betts are both not All-Stars.
So they are both, obviously, they weren't voted in as starters, so that's the fan vote. The issue comes when we give it to the players and the managers who don't know anything about anything except for their teams. And Juan Soto hasn't been talked about a lot this year because he hasn't
He's had a
been
bad year.
great, except for the fact that he's hitting below what he normally hits, 263. He's on base at 400, 21 home runs, 51 RBIs. When the manager's office or when the commissioner's office goes, oh darn, Chris Sale's not going to play. Oh, here's Juan Soto, which that's not how that works, but you know what I mean. Like, he's gonna get named. I agree. That's kind of crazy. I would assume Betts gets named too, if depending on who drops out. I don't know who will drop out though. That's the issue.
I mean, looking at the NL right now, no one immediately jumps to mind. Yeah, I mean, like, it feels like everyone on this NL team
obviously.
position players wise,
Yeah,
Sale's gonna be off of it, and they're gonna bring on, like, I don't know who else would be a starter for the NL that isn't already. I wonder if they'll put Jake Bird in there.
It's possible.
Maybe, yeah.
It's possible.
It's possible. They could always use a reliever.
But I feel like they'd go for, like, Daniel Palencia or something like that.
Yeah,
they
it's
go
just
for, like,
a hard sell to, pick two players from the worst team in baseball to make this roster. Like, that's just a hard sell.
I would love to talk about the elephant in the room on the NL West. Clayton Kershaw was nominated by the commissioner's office as a legend pick.
Can you name all three players that have ever been named legend picks to the MLB?
Which, to my knowledge, is just Pujols, Kershaw.
There's two.
I want to say it was Molina.
Yadier Molina.
Yep.
Which, like, first of all, Pujols was actually hitting really well the last
I don't know, guys. Pujols,
It wasn't Molina. It was Miguel Cabrera. Excuse me.
Right. Miguel Cabrera wasn't. Miguel Cabrera was not hitting. And he stopped playing the field at that point, too, because this was phase 1 of 3 of the great Spencer Torkelson experiment.
it's kind of working now.
It's working now.
It always works for a month or two.
Clayton Kershaw will not see a second of game time in this game. I'm sorry.
Especially with Davey Roberts managing the team, like, it's just not happening.
I'm sorry. If Dave Roberts goes, that's right, my all-star starter. No, it's not, not Yamamoto. It's not Paul Skeens. It's not Zach Wheeler. It's not even, like, Mackenzie Gore, Matthew Boyd, Freddie Peralta. That's right, Clayton Kershaw. You go out there and face the 3 best hitters in the American League. The home run derby all of a sudden has restarted. And also,
so my thing about this is, like, does the commissioner, like, Kershaw hasn't announced that he's retiring, right?
No, he hasn't. He hasn't said a thing. So everyone thinks he will.
Does the commissioner's office know something that we don't? Because Miguel Cabrera and Pujols both were on their farewell tour. Like, which is kind of why I can understand why they were invited to the All-Star game. Like, if Kershaw had announced that he is retiring at the end of the season, he's one of the best pitchers of all time. Put him in the All-Star game, give him the nod. He gets his 11th All-Star selection. Who cares? Like you said, he's not going to play. Like, I don't really have an issue with it, but
right,
is he retiring, or is he going to be back next year?
I have a really hard time believing he returns. I feel like we all do.
Yeah.
Because the ideal Dodgers rotation, which has never been the realistic Dodgers rotation because they all explode, doesn't include him. They have 5 better pitchers than he does.
Correct.
Than current Clayton Kershaw or even future Clayton Kershaw. I mean, he's got young kids. They're growing up. I have a really hard time believing he won't step away.
I think it's also important to note that over the last 3 or 4 off seasons, he's had several chances to sign contracts elsewhere and move to a different rotation where maybe he would get more opportunity or more cemented playing time. Obviously, he's ended up having a fine amount of innings with this Dodgers team because they can't stay out of injury trouble, but he could have signed with the Texas Rangers 2 years ago if he wanted to, for example. And I think the fact that he hasn't left shows that he's a Dodger lifer. And when it gets to a point where he's no longer in their future plans, then rather than signing with another team, he's just going to retire. And I think that's probably coming sooner than a lot of people expect.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, to wrap this up, do we need anything else here?
I have one more thing.
Go ahead.
One more All-Star thing I want to talk about. It's from the American League. I know we haven't talked about the American League All-Star picture yet at all. Javier Baez wins the popular vote. He will be the starting center fielder for the American League Central. Do you know how many games Javier Baez has started in center field in the month of July?
In the month of July?
Yes.
Like the last 7 days?
Yes.
I do not.
Do you know how long ago it's been since he started a game in center field? It's been over a month at this point. It's very funny to me that he's like the Tigers have very quietly kind of given up on the Javier Baez in center field experiment. His glove was just not worth the bat out there, and they've moved him back to his natural position of shortstop. But he's going to have to run back out to center field just one last time for the All-Star game. That's pretty funny to me.
I'd be willing to bet they leave him out there for like 4 innings.
Yeah, probably.
And then they probably just shove someone else out there. They'll shove Julio out there.
There you go.
Oh, who also?
Or Jazz. Jazz is playing center, isn't he?
Jazz is playing.
Why is he not playing second base? Why is he not?
Well, they moved him to third. He has a shoulder injury.
Oh, right.
He's committed like half of his chances. He's like have been errors in the past 10 games at third base, which he wants to play second base. The Yankees should have brought in a third baseman. That wasn't
DJ. They're just so committed to playing DJ LeMahieu. They're just so committed.
Guys, I swear Oswaldo Cabrera will really work out this time. I swear. You have to believe me. Oswaldo Cabrera is just a really good, he's a great clubhouse guy. You have to believe me. He's going to be good. Please believe me.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else on the All-Stars?
Why is J-Rod on the team?
Yeah.
He's not been hitting well.
Compared to who else was available, it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
He had has 10 points higher OPS and the same amount of home runs as a Mariner as Rowdy Tellez, who was DFA'd.
He's having his worst career year at the plate ever.
He's been regressing every year since he started. Every year.
That's what proves that the fans are better at voting All-Stars than the league is.
I'm not sure that that's true either. Just give the ballot to the BWAA. It's so much easier that way.
Oh yeah, the BBWAA, noted good decision makers.
Correct. They've never once gotten the Hall
They
of
have
Fame.
never been wrong.
Never
ever.
once. There are several teams that only have one All-Star representative this year, and that's standard because every team has to have an All-Star representative. Whether that's fair or not, I will let the audience decide, but that's the way that the rules work. I won't definitively say that this is the funniest just one person that was named to represent their entire team. But it's very, very funny to me that this year's Baltimore Orioles are represented solely by Ryan O'Hearn.
And as a starter.
As a starter.
Well,
yeah.
Dude, whatever. They suck. They're so terrible.
Yeah.
They don't deserve more than one, obviously. There's some teams here that I'm looking at, I'm like, what? Like, why does Seattle have 4 All-Stars?
Why did the A's have 2?
Rooker, DH. Yeah, that's a good one. Like, why did the Giants, I guess, make sense? I don't know.
Jacob
It's
Lopez
just like,
has been not bad.
The Padres and the Giants both don't need 3. They both don't deserve 3.
Yeah, that's the issue with the NL West is like half the team is coming from that league, from that division.
Yeah.
Like other than the Cubs in the National League Central, everybody has 1 All-Star per team. That's it.
Atlanta has 3. The Mets have 3.
The Dodgers have 5.
Yeah.
And one of them is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Also, who is Randy Rodriguez?
Hey, not too much on
He's a
Randy
bullpenner.
Rodriguez.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
He's been closing for them this year.
Yeah,
Don't talk about my fighting Mickey Doolittle's reliever. They've been good this year.
We're gonna advance
I'm not sure
in
that's
the
true.
in the show now. Before we mess or go bye with the All-Stars, I want to know, without any restrictions of when they last pitched, who would you have start for the American League on the mound and for the National League? John?
Scooble and Wheeler.
I think I would probably go Scooble and Yamamoto.
I would go Scooble and Wheeler as well, John. I think you could throw Skeens out there and do the same thing you did last year. But
you got to factor in it's Dave Martinez that's filling out the lineup card.
Right.
I just feel like he's going to go with this guy.
True. That's a good point. All right, moving on. I have 9 prompts here that I want 10 to 15 word answers on, and that's it. That I found on TikTok. All right, listen, they're actually pretty solid, and I think
the universe was in a hot, dense state. Sorry, that's a Big Bang Theory thing. Continue.
Adam,
I hate that I instantly recognized that.
All right, is Mizorowski the new Skeens?
No.
No, he needs to work on control.
Adam?
No.
Sure. I wonder if O'Neal Cruz would try harder if he was on a better team.
I don't know that effort is the issue as much as coaching.
It's a good answer.
Maybe different team, probably different position.
We've talked about this before. I really think Cal Raleigh could beat out Judge for MVP.
I could see it happening.
In a perfect world, yes. In this one, 50-50.
Do you think Scooble has it in him to win back-to-back Cy Youngs? Or does he have too much tough competition in the AL this year?
Scooble could win back-to-back Cy Youngs. I'm not sure it's going to be this year and last year.
It'll happen at some point. He's got plus pitches at every pitch now.
Correct.
Do you think Boston will be buyers or sellers at the trade deadline this year? Before they traded Devers, I would have said they'd be buyers, but now it's a toss-up.
They're already selling.
That's a good point. They did kind of sell when they got rid of Devers.
Lame duck trade deadline. 1 or 2 moves that don't do anything.
I wish I could
be traded.
Ooh, good point. I would think so. Yeah. I wish I could be as bad at my job as Walker Buehler is at his.
Yeah.
I wish they'd pay me like he is.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it.
At this rate, Denzel Clarke's defense is enough to make up for his lack of offense. He should be an everyday starter.
He already is.
He's just better Billy Hamilton.
Acuna really didn't miss a beat, did he?
No, he's good.
He's exactly who we knew he was going to be.
And finally, the comeback of Javier Baez should be studied.
As a key example of insanity, yes.
Yeah, agree. I'm not sure this is going to be sustained, but he's good for now.
All right. That's it. Immaculate Grid time. Adam, what's the Immaculate Grid?
The Immaculate Grid is a 3x3 grid which has 9 spaces intersecting between different rows and columns. You have to pick a Major League Baseball player that fits into each category for each spot. Today's spots on the roster are, from left to right, Cleveland, the New York Mets, and was at least a one-time All-Star. Going top to bottom, it's the Athletics, the Cubs, and the Phillies.
I have an all-star for all 3 teams.
By all means.
They've already been put in, but I can do a different browser if I need to. For the A's, Stephen Vogt, or however you say his last name.
Vote.
Things that people in Cobb County cannot do.
For the Cubs, Addison Russell. And for the Phillies, Jonathan Papelbon.
True.
Hey,
You just had to random shot at Cobb County there, man. Damn.
All right. Anybody got anything?
Athletics, Mets. Is Frankie Montas too recent? Part of me wants to do Frankie Montas. Either that or Trevor May.
Ooh, Trevor May's a good one.
Trevor May?
Yeah.
Guardians, Cubs. The Franimal. Franmil Reyes.
Oh.
Okay.
A's, Cleveland. I feel like there's going to be a really, really fun one on this.
Ooh, I have a Philly Met. Jake Diekman.
Oh, that is good.
Actually, yeah. Cleveland and the Athletics having a really good year, but not with either of these teams. Ernie Clement. Or a good year in Ernie Clement standards.
Good point.
I would have also gone Jesus Aguilar here.
Oh, Jesus Aguilar. That's good. I like that. Mets, Cubs. You played for both of them in the same season. It was 2020. Billy Hamilton.
Okay. We need a Guardian Philly.
Guardian Philly. Guardian Noah Syndergaard?
I feel like we can think of a better one than that.
Yeah, John. Jeez.
Yeah, what? God, John. God. Guardian Philly.
My mind went to Carlos Santana, but I feel like we could do a better one than that as well.
I agree.
Yeah.
Bradley Zimmer had a short stint with the Phillies, didn't he?
You could also do Oscar Mercado. He played semi-recently.
I'm good with you.
It's up to you, John.
It's up to me. I'm gonna put
you're the one putting him in. What are these trades? Sorry.
All right, we got a rarity score of 7. The hardest spot on the grid today was Cubs Cleveland with 63%.
The 2016 World Series.
Can you name the number 1 answer for the New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies?
Brad Hand.
Is it Zach Wheeler?
It is Lenny Dykstra.
All
right. Well.
All right.
Where can you find us?
Ladies and gentlemen. The Chatting AVG on X, the everything app.
You can also find us in our various apartments, but don't do that.
Like I'm
Actually,
good.
not find me there.
Yeah.
Spotify, download, rate, YouTube, like, comment, subscribe.
Whatever you
podcasts, whatever you're supposed to do there.
Whatever you do to shows you like, do to us.
Yeah. Follow us.
Feel free to send me a favorite meme. I accept.
Yes, if you're listening,
all times.
Joe Sansoni, happy birthday! And if you're listening, send Adam your favorite meme. That's it, I think. Yeah. Everybody. Anyway, yeah.
Bye.
Bye.